Before the start of this video, weeks ago I did a video for the vote for the next WCW/NWA pay-per-view to review. So your choices is WCW Spring Stampede 1994, WCW Spring Stampede 1999, Wrestle War 1989, and New Blood Rising of the year 2000. So just write down in the comment section below for the next WCW/NWA pay-per-view to review. Enjoy my review of WWE Backlash 2002, folks. What's up, my Central Units? It's the Central Man here, so back again with another classic WWE pay-per-view review. So this month marks the 20th anniversary of a pay-per-view I'm going to talk about right now. That is WWF Backlash 2002 at the Kemper Arena. Right now it's called the Hy-Vee Arena in Kansas City, Missouri, on the 21st of April 2002. The attendance for the show was 12,489. Backlash 2002 received about 400,000 pay-per-view buys, an upgrade than the 2001 Backlash show. The main event of that show, it was at the Allstate Arena in Chicago, Illinois. Yeah, the main event of that show was the Brothers of Destruction. That is The Undertaker and Kane. They taken on Stone Cold Steve Austin and Triple H, the two-man power trip. And it's all for the golds, for the world title, the IC title, and the tag team titles. Backlash 2001 received about 375,000 pay-per-view buys. Plus, they had the Ultimate Submission match between Chris Benoit versus Kurt Angle, Shane McMahon versus The Big Show in the Last Man Standing match, and also the crap match. No, I don't really call it a crap match, but you had Chris Jericho versus William Regal in a Duchess of Queensberry match. Jesus Christ. Yeah, like I said, Backlash 01 received about 375,000 pay-per-view buys. Anyway, so the commentators for Backlash 2002 are Jim Ross and Joe the King Lawler. This is the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania 18, the first pay-per-view since the start of the first brand split, and this is the first WWF pay-per-view at the Kemper Arena since Over the Edge in 1999. That was the show when Owen Hart, died, fell 78 feet in the air, from his harness. He was the Blue Blazer. That's another topic for another time. Yeah, and I think the first wrestling show after Owen's death was WCW's Slamboree 2000. That's another topic for another time. And also, this is the final pay-per-view under the WWF name. And then, a few weeks later, WWF will become WWE. I think the final show they did was Insurrection. That was on the 6th of May. I don't want to get into that. That's a future show to review for another time. Anyway, so yeah. Backlash 2002 is the final pay-per-view under the WWF name. And then after that, WWF will become WWE. Anyway, so the first match to kick off Backlash 2002, this is for the Cruiserweight Championship. Billy Kidman defending the belt against Tajiri with Tori Wilson in the corner of Tajiri. So, I think it was the first pay-per-view when the Cruiserweight title was on a show. I think it was the first time since 2001. Like the Cruiserweight division was back in was in WWE since 2001. It was in WCW when WCW was out of business. So when WWF bought the rights, so the Cruiserweight title was on WWF television during the Invasion storyline. So I don't know what the backstory go into it. So Tajiri, we'll get to the Tajiri part shortly. So Kidman, Kidman was Cruiserweight champion in the days in WCW. So he won he won the Cruiserweight title in July of 2001. So Kidman defeat Tajiri on the 2nd of April's episode of SmackDown. I'm guessing this was the first SmackDown after Mania 18. It was a tape SmackDown. And so, let's get to the relationship between Tajiri and Tori Wilson, they were a couple during the whole invasion storyline, and then all of a sudden, they were baby faces, and then also Tajiri treat Tori Wilson like shit, making her wearing in this match, in the show, in his match with Kidman, he made Tori Wilson wearing I think it's called a geisha. So Wilson, basically taking really getting sick of Tajiri's shit. So, anyway, so the match, so the match between Kidman and Tajiri, it was a good match. It was a good, fast-paced match. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. Nothing very important. It was a fun cruiserweight match. Kidman, I think like Tajiri, so Kidman was going for the shooting star press. Tajiri got out of the way, hit him with the roundhouse. No, I think it was a roundhouse kick, kicked out. So in the end, I think Kidman was going for like a power bomb, and Tajiri sprayed the red mist in the face of Kidman to win this match and become the cruiserweight champion. I'm guessing for the second time. And and then you got Michael Cole trying to interview Tajiri, and he was speaking in Japanese. I think he did speak English in real life, but behind the scenes. But I think his characters only speak in Japanese, so I think he does speak English, Tajiri, as a character. But that was like behind the scenes, outside, but in KVB he speaks Japanese. I don't know. So he speaks Japanese, walked off, and that was it. So. Man, like I said, good match. I'd rather have Tori Wilson, he's getting sick of Tajiri's shit. I'd rather have Tori Wilson costing Tajiri the cruiserweight title to get away from him. I think they end up breaking up, I hope. This was just kind of like a good match. Could be a lot better if Tori Wilson interfered, caused Tajiri the match, storyline wise. Sorry, I'm stumbling by the way, But besides that, it was a fun match to kick off the pay-per-view. So the next match, we got Bradshaw, one half of the APA. We'll get to that part shortly. Taking on Scott Hall, represent of the NWO, with X-Pac in his corner. So, like I said, this is the first pay-per-view after the start of the brand split, after the draft. And they kind of breaking up tag teams like the APA and the Dudleys, in a great example. Devon's on SmackDown. I think at this moment in time, doing the whole Reverend gimmick with, introduce Batista in WWF television as the Deacon. I think they broke up the APA. I think Bradshaw was on Raw. Farouk on SmackDown. So. So the NWO, wow. So after WrestleMania, they, Hall and Nash turned on Hogan after Hogan's match with The Rock, and then all of a sudden you can tell that the NWO, the WWF/WWE's version of the NWO was falling apart. So, in the entranceway before the match between Scott Hall and Bradshaw, X-Pac was wearing Kane's mask, so. He was feuding with Kane because at this moment in time, Kane was doing the whole thing, calling his fans Kagenites. So weeks prior, the NWO beat down Kane. I don't know if Kane had an injury or took some time off. He came back, months later with the half mask, and it led up to the Katie Fix storyline. I don't want to get into it. That's a future topic for another time. Anyway, so that's why X-Pac's wearing Kane's mask. So, and also the announcers brought that Kevin Nash was kayfabe suspended, but in real life he suffered a bicep injury. And then he came back. It's funny, he came back months later, and his first match back, he suffered a quad injury. That was the end of the NWO in WWE. Anyway, so the match between Scott Hall and Bradshaw. I heard people crapping on this match. I don't say this match was terrible. I feel like this match came off of a TV match you probably see on Raw, SmackDown, not a pay-per-view that you're spending at the time a lot of money. At this moment in time, Scott Hall is way past his prime. I know it's 5 minutes, but I feel like it was a bit boring to me. Yeah, you had Bradshaw, like, yeah, you basically Hall and X-Pac trying to gang up with Bradshaw. Bradshaw's the future JBL, by the way. Farouk, that's Ron Simmons, coming down to the aisle to save Bradshaw. He did. It was not really a beatdown, so it's like for an equalizer. Farouk attacked Hall and X-Pac without the referee noticing. Bradshaw hit the clothesline from Hell on Hall. X-Pac, reached the rope, put Hall's leg on the ropes. Farouk chased X-Pac. He basically slammed X-Pac, ran him into the ring post. Tried to keep it short and simple, folks. In the end, Hall low blow Bradshaw, rolled him up for the win. And this was Scott Hall's last pay-per-view match in his return to the WWF. After spending years in WCW, he had the Austin match was a bit better, but this was just a TV wrestling match. By the way, not a pay-per-view worthy match. Like I said, people are going to pay. This was the end of Hall's run in his second run with the company. His first one was in 92 to 1996. Yeah, people will talk about his first run compared to his second run. So it only lasted, he returned to the company in February, and in March had his WrestleMania match, first time in years against Steve Austin, and now his final match, final pay-per-view match. I'm guessing he had one more appearance. Maybe he did wrestle one more match. I think he appeared in the Insurrection. I don't really call it pay-per-view Insurrection. It was more like a house show. So this was the end of Hall's time in the WWF until he get inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. I'm guessing it was in 2000 and I think it was 2014 or 15 when he got inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame. 2014 he was inducted into the WWE Hall of Fame, and again in 2020 when he was part of the NWO. He got released. I'm guessing he was due to drug substance abuse, and also that shit with the whole plane ride from hell. I don't want to talk about the plane ride from hell. Go watch Dark Side of the Ring for more information. So that was it. So yeah, like I said, it wasn't a terrible match. It was okay, nothing special, just a typical TV wrestling match on a pay-per-view. Anyway, so the next match, this is for the WWF Women's Championship. Jazz defending the women's title belt against Trish Stratus. Trish defeated Molly Holly on the Go Home show on Raw on the show, Go Home show to Backlash on Raw to get a shot at the women's champion, Jazz. I almost called her Taz, by the way. Anyway, so you had Molly Holly coming out, called Trish Stratus a cheater. People don't want to see a cheater who is flogging or flunching her body around. People want to see pure and awesome. Yeah, call Trish a cheaters. You know what's happened to cheaters. Basically, yeah, Molly Holly attacked Trish. The match between Jazz and Trish, it was a good match, by the way. It wasn't a fantastic match. You can tell Trish was starting to improve in the ring. You can tell she's improving. Her first few years, she was just kind of green, but, in 2002, you can tell, she's starting to improve, and becoming the Trish will become, one of the best in-ring workers of all time. Anyway, I'm trying to keep it short and simple, folks. So I think Trish hit the announcer didn't really call it the Stratusfaction and the Stratosphere yet. She kind of hit the Stratosphere onto Jazz. It's basically her Corona. She was going for they didn't really call it the Stratusfaction. I think they call it the Headlock Bulldog, but Jazz countered it. Jazz locked in the Boston Leg Crab. Trish was going for the ropes. In the end, Jazz made Trish tap out with the STF. It's funny that people said about when people say STF, they'll refer it to John Cena because John Cena used the STF as his submission hold, his submission move. But Jazz is very underrated in my opinion. Because when people talk about women's wrestlers in the 2000s in the Ruthless Aggression era, they don't mention Jazz's name. You know, I think Jazz is very underrated. I don't think she's in the Hall of Fame yet. You know, she's very underrated. You know, she's not in the Hall of Fame. I'm not too sure she's in the Hall of Fame. She should be in the Hall of Fame. I don't know why people talk about, you know, the WWE or even the fans don't talk about Jazz. I think she's a very underrated worker. Maybe it has to do with Jazz. I'm not too sure if Jazz like left the company on very bad terms. I simply do not know. So yeah, Trish went on to defeat Jazz on a Raw. I think it was on the 13th of May's episode of Monday Night Raw. I think it was a week before Judgment Day, to win the women's title. And yeah, Jazz, she wins the title again in 2003, and then she was gone. And then yeah, it's a shame that Jazz never returned to the company, whether it's like for a second run or, you know, train, be part of the performance center. I don't know. It's, you know, it's just a mystery. So my throat's a bit dry. Man, I need to drink first before moving on to the next match on the show. So the next match, we got Brock Lesnar with Paul Heyman in his corner, taking on Jeff Hardy with Lita in his corner. So Brock Lesnar made his debut in the WWF, the Raw after WrestleMania 18. Heyman made his return after the Raw after Survivor Series of 2001 when the Alliance dies. Vince fired him. He got the security guards escorting, basically carried Heyman out of the building. You got the return of Jerry Lawler as the co-commentator. So Brock made his return. Yeah, made his debut for the company. Yeah, he was in OVW. So, you know, you had Heyman. There was a segment, you know, part of the video package had Heyman basically grabbing Lita's like knickers, her panties, and you know, stolen her suitcase, like scrounging her suitcase, and then Brock attacked Matt Hardy. So basically Jeff wants revenge for his brother Matt, including Lita. So yeah, Brock came out with very genetic music. You know, I'm glad they changed it to the music you see right now. It's funny right now, Brock is in his career renaissance, you know, with the cowboy hat, you know, with beard and the ponytail. You know, he's on a career renaissance, you know, in our current timeline. It's just what it is. Compare, you know, he was just starting out. He was fucking big and muscly back then. I think he was in his 20s. The match was, yeah, it's short. It's a squash match. You know, Jeff had some offense. You can tell it's a squash match. He was basically showcase how give Brock Lesnar some exposure. I think this was his first actual match, you know, as a pro wrestler, because he was really beating down wrestlers. You know, like including being the crap out of the wrestlers in that hardcore match, the Raw after Mania 18. Anyway, so yeah, it was just basically a beat. You know, he basically attacked Jeff Hardy, him with the F5, and then I think it's on the chair, and then he kind of powerbomb him, and Brock won this match with a technical knockout. I'm not saying it was a bad match. It was an okay match. You know, I don't say squash Jeff completely, because Jeff Hardy was at the time still popular. I think they were still together, the Hardys. They're not really split via the draft of the first brand split. They're still together. Yeah, they end up breaking up months later. Matt went to SmackDown, did the V1 gimmick. So yeah, Brock was just showcasing Brock. You know, you can tell like they're putting eggs in the Brock Lesnar basket. You know, they had I think they had a handicap match at Judgment Day the following month, and then funny that in June Brock became the King of the Ring winner, and then at SummerSlam in August, not June but in July, you know, he won that King of the Ring tournament at the final King of the Ring pay-per-view, and then at SummerSlam in August he defeated The Rock to become the WWE champion. So you can tell Brock is on the rise to become the next big thing. You know, after that is his like trademark nickname. He was the Pain, and then yeah, when he's starting out, they dubbed him as the next big thing. And they kind of bang on that, you know, mark. You know, at the time he's going to be the next big thing, and ding ding, they're all right. So moving on to basically the match of the night. So that's match number 3, 4. Yeah, match number 5. We got Edge versus Kurt Angle. So It was physical. They were doing beating down, causing people, causing each other matches. You had like the segment when Angle kind of basically Angle slammed Edge onto the pavement in a backstage area. I don't know. I think it was on SmackDown. It was memorable for this segment, probably on Raw and SmackDown, when Edge gave Kurt Angle pictures of him and Angle, and then they had words says "you suck," "you're a dork," "you had no testicles." That was funny. And also, I think there were a lot of I think this is the first pay-per-view, Angle get the, you suck, you suck, when his theme music played. I might be wrong, who knows. So yeah, like Edge and Angle had history, Angle and Edge, they, not to say cahoots, they kind of like had the relationship, they were friends, the segment, team, pairing with Edge and Christian with Angle, the segment when they're just look like hillbillies, that was funny. What they called? Team Eck, it's called? Team Eck. Anyway, so, the match between Angle and Edge, this was a good match, really physical, a lot of suplexes, Edge, it's funny, like, he doesn't do high-fly spots in this match. He did a crossbody off the top rope, outside the ring, he did a drop kick inside the ring. It's a shame he doesn't do that anymore. I think he stopped that when he came back from the neck injury in 2004. So yeah, Angle, Edge kicked out. I think Edge kicked out the Angle Slam for the first time, and then Angle kicked out the Edge-O-Matic. Angle grabbed the chair, tried to hit Edge with the chair, but he kind of hit the top rope, and hit him in the head. Edge trying to pin him. That was a near fall, by the way, so try to keep it short and simple. Angle was going for the ankle lock. Edge counted into a roll-up. Angle kicked out. This was really good. It was getting physical. It was getting intense. In the end, Edge was going for the spear. Angle basically knee Edge, hit the Angle Slam for the second time to win this match. This is setting up the hair match, the hair versus hair match at Judgment Day the following month. Edge, won the second match of the rivalry. Angle get his head bald. You can probably see the Angle you see right now with the bald head. You can tell Angle's hair. You can tell he's falling apart. You can see I think he was in his 30s at the time. I think shaving his head was the right direction. Edge had proper hair, man. He's like they're both like in their 30s or close in their 30s, but you can see Angle's losing his hair. Edge has a long lock of blonde hair. So the next match, this was match of the night, by the way, between Edge and Kurt Angle. So the next match, this is for the Intercontinental Championship. Rob Van Dam, RVD for short, defended the IC title. That's Intercontinental title for short. Defending the belt against Eddie Guerrero. This is Eddie Guerrero's first match since a year. So he got fired the previous year in 2001 due to, I think it was a DUI, drug. Yeah, I think it was I think it was drugs and alcohol. So Guerrero spent time in the Indies, like New Japan. He appeared on the debut Ring of Honor show before making his back to the company. Caused RVD. I think it was a number one contenders match. We'll get to the next match after. I'll talk about RVD and Eddie Guerrero match. It was a fun match. It was really good. I really liked this match between Eddie and RVD. I think like Eddie, both got like their finishers. The frog splash as the finisher. RVD did his version. He called it the 5-star frog splash. I think he did that, but Eddie got out of the way somehow. Trying to keep it short and simple. I think there was a referee bump. Yeah, a referee bump. I don't think it was a referee bump. It was back and forth. In the end, Eddie Guerrero hit the neck breaker, hit the frog splash, his frog splash onto RVD to win this match and win the IC title. I'm guessing for the second time. I think he won it before. This was during his first run, like 2000, 2001. This is his first title back in the company. It's really down. This is up. There's further matches in the spring and the summer of 2002. RVD, yeah, what's the really point having RVD winning the IC title at WrestleMania 18 because he defeated William Regal at WrestleMania 18 in Toronto the previous month. So what's the point? I'd rather have RVD getting over because he just won the title on that show. I'm talking about WrestleMania, by the way. I feel like I hate that. Sometimes what's the point having the guy winning the IC or any title went on to lose the title the following month's pay per view? I simply don't get it. So, like I said, instead of like future matches in the summer, the spring and the summer of 2002 for RVD and Eddie Guerrero, it's still technically ECW versus WCW because RVD was a former ECW guy and Eddie Guerrero was a former WCW guy. I know he wrestled in a little bit in. Funny that it's fun trivia. A bit on the side note that RVD had a cup of coffee in WCW. He was kind of like a job at this moment in time. And Eddie Guerrero had a cup of coffee in ECW in the 90s. So it was a bit of a trivia. So moving on to the main event matches. So moving on to the next match. So we had The Undertaker taking on Stone Cold Steve Austin. And the winner became the number one contender for the undisputed WWF Championship with Ric Flair as the special guest referee. So this is non-existent between Austin and Taker. It was more between Austin and Flair because Austin hit Flair with the Stone Cold Stunner after both Austin and Flair did the bear thing. So they had this tournament to who will face face in the finals at Backlash. Austin defeats Scott Hall. That led to Austin for the second time hit Flair with the Stone Cold Stunner, and Undertaker defeat RVD after the interference by Eddie Guerrero. So the match between Taker and Austin, it's a shadow of its former self because I don't think it was a good match. It was it's a decent showing. I don't know. I don't really know. I'll get to my final thoughts of the show at the end of this review. So it was 27 minutes long, nearly half an hour. Fucking hell, that's too long. Too long in my opinion. So it was just punch, punch, punch. It was going a little boring. Yeah, the fight a little bit outside the ring. Too much bumped by Ric Flair. He took 2 bumps, and then in the Random Blue, you had Hall and X-Pac came out of nowhere. Why? I thought they're going to attack Austin. Why they're there beats me. I don't get it. I simply do not get it. I'm trying to keep it short and simple. I think Austin trying to hit Taker with the chair. Flair stopped him. That led to Flair did the second referee bump. In the end, I think Taker chokeslam Austin, and then Flair trying to do the 3 count. At the same time, Austin's foot was on the ropes. And Taker won this match, and he became the number one contender for the undisputed WWE Championship. And then afterwards, and also they did a lot of taunt in the beginning of this match. Austin did the push-ups. He give Austin Taker with the middle finger. Afterwards, Taker give Austin the middle finger, and Austin did the Stone Cold Stunner onto Taker to end this. So yeah, you can tell Austin was not in the state of mind. I don't really necessarily past his best. He was the yes chance was still over like gangbusters, but you could tell I think it's not too long then Austin walked out of the company because 2 weeks after WrestleMania, Austin walked out for the first time, but the second walkout, you won't see Austin again until 2003. Maybe, I think the reason why, I'll explain it again if I review Judgment Day 2002, that I think maybe it has to do with Vince not really pushing Austin anymore. I think he's given up on Austin as the top guy, so I don't want to get into it. That's another topic for another time. So this was furthering up the rivalry between Austin and Ric Flair. They had the match at Judgment Day, and then also Austin did the walkout, and the rest is history. So it's not the last time we'll see Undertaker on this show. So moving on to the next match. This is for the WWF Tag Team Championships. Billy and Chuck with Rico. This is Rico's first pay-per-view appearance because he was in WWF before. He debuted. He really signed with the company in 1998. But he was part of developmental, and now he made his I think it was in March he made his debut on the main roster, as the manager of Billy and Chuck. Billy and Chuck is Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo. Yeah, they defended the belts against Maven, who's the first winner of the first Toughen Up, with his trainer Al Snow as his tag team partner. So this was filler. I don't know why they put this on this pay-per-view. I wish they just cut this match off and just or secondly put it on Heat. I don't feel like this is a pay-per-view worthy match. It was predictable that Billy and Chuck win this match, and they did. So moving on. So no disrespect for Billy and Chuck's gimmick. For me, to be honest, I give it credit. I'm guessing people like Billy and Chuck's gimmick, but for me, it doesn't do nothing for me. I don't want to get into it. I'm not crapping on LGBT. I'm not crapping on gays or lesbians. I'm just saying the gimmick doesn't do nothing for me. It was just given them because at the time, Billy Gunn and Chuck Palumbo, sorry, I'm a tongue twisting moment. Chuck Palumbo, they're not really doing anything at the time, so it's just what it is. I think maybe it's before or even afterwards they end up doing a wedding ceremony on SmackDown, and then all of a sudden Rico turn on them, and Rico will be part of 3-minute warning. That's Jamal, the future Umaga, and Rosie. Rosie's the late brother of Roman Reigns, the late brother of the tribal chief Roman Reigns. That's another topic for another time. So main event time. This is the final ever WWF pay-per-view main event. This is for the undisputed WWF Championship. Triple H defending the belt against Hollywood Hulk Hogan. Triple H won the championship at WrestleMania 18 against Chris Jericho. And speaking of Jericho, he was on the show. He was bragging about he's not on the show, competing in a match on the show. He said he did interfere in the main event. Says you Hulkamaniacs, Hogan's not going to win. He did interfere. We'll get to that moment shortly. So Vince basically announced Hogan's going to face Triple H for the title at Backlash because Hogan really stole the show at WrestleMania 18 in his match with The Rock. Got that good reaction. It was Bizarro World because the Canadian fans cheer for Hogan, booing The Rock. But it has to do with the legacy of the main event of WrestleMania 6 between Hogan and the Warrior. Anyway, so Hogan's theme music, it's basically Voodoo Child by Jimi Hendrix, but they kind of changed it to Young Grow Old. I'm guessing trying to capitalize off the return of Hulkamania. It's Hogan is the nostalgia act, and it's basically this match is basically putting the belt on Hogan. Getting that. It was basically strike when the iron was hot, and they did. So anyway, so I'm not going to get into it that shortly. I'm going to talk about it briefly. So the match was okay. I don't really call it a bad match. It was okay for what it is. Yeah, it was interference by Jericho. I thought, I wish Jericho interfered Triple H because they ended up fighting in the Hell in a Cell match at Judgment Day the following month. But instead of costing Triple H the title, he trying to help Triple H win. That's not making any sense. I'm guessing he lost the title to Triple H at WrestleMania. I don't know why. It's backwards booking in my opinion. So yeah, hit Hogan in the head with it, and then Triple H hit Hogan with the pedigree. Undertaker, who's just defeat Austin to become the number one contender for the WWF Championship, came to the ring and hit Triple H in the head with a chair. Hogan hit the leg drop, beats Triple H, and become the undisputed champion. I think this is his 6th WWE Championship in his career. His first one since 1993. When he defeated Yokozuna at WrestleMania 9. And he dropped the title back to Yoko at King of the Ring of that same year. So, yeah, it was basically just strike when the iron was hot. Nothing too fancy. It wasn't a great match. I don't call it terrible, but Hogan was never known for his great wrestling technique. He's there for his character, but not his moves. Triple H he's good. I'm not saying he's great. He was fine for what it is. But no chemistry. This is the one and only. They never fought ever again, one-on-one between Hogan and Triple H. And I heard it like in Triple H's book that he demanded a lengthy title reign. So it was like, what if, like, I think if Triple H was the champion, I think he'll probably drop the belt to Brock Lesnar. I think Triple H will remain the babyface at SummerSlam, and he'll drop the belt to Brock Lesnar. And maybe Triple H will get the ring in turn anyway. I don't know. I don't want to get into. I'm not doing any fantasy booking on this. It's kind of what ifs, how Austin will be in. If Austin did the walkout, is Austin gonna be paid at that year's SummerSlam? We don't know. It's just one of what ifs. It's just what it is. It's just what if. I can't really explain what's gonna happen. If they, Austin did the walkout, Triple H did not drop the undisputed WWF Championship. It's just kind of like, I can't really explain. It's just what it is. I can't really predict. I guarantee, like, maybe I think the reason Rock came back because Austin walked out. I think Rock will still not be in the show. It'll probably be like the main event be Triple H, Brock Lesnar, and I don't know. I don't think they'll do a triple threat match. I don't know. It's just kind of like, I don't know. Why if Shawn Michaels did not came back to face Triple H in his first match back in years? I don't know. Like I said, I'm sounding like a broken record. It's just one of these things you cannot tell. What if Austin did not walk out, or Triple H, get Triple H a lengthy run as the undisputed champion. And this is the first pay-per-view with the Ruthless Aggression WWF/WWE title belt. So, and also it was the point. I think at this moment in time, I think Triple H said in his one of his books that Hogan winning the belt that killed his momentum. I kind of disagree. I'm guessing like Triple H, I think his momentum is starting to like people getting sick of him as a babyface. I think it was a short-term thing. Have him win the Rock, came back after the injury, win the Rumble, and winning the title at WrestleMania against Chris Jericho. That was during like the feud between Triple H and Stephanie, and then after Stephanie took the back seat, I think like if Triple H remains the babyface, he'll get like lost in the shuffle. I think the best thing for Triple H's career, or the best thing, is turn heel, turn on Shawn Michaels, and turn heel once again. I don't want to get in the Reign of Terror, but be part, forming Evolution, I think was the right direction. I think like it was, maybe Triple H was better off as a heel than a babyface. That's my opinion. But and Hogan ended up dropping the title to The Undertaker at Judgment Day. Like I said, another topic for another time. So yeah, like I said, the main event was okay, wasn't terrible, wasn't great. It was there for Hogan winning the title. It was there for the nostalgia act. After gaining momentum after WrestleMania 18, Hogan, because a reason why you gotta give Hogan credit. People are really not keen on Hogan off the racist stuff, but he was the catalyst of the company's boom period in the 80s and 90s, including the second one in the mid to late 90s in WCW in the Monday Night War. So you have to give Hogan some credit. I think WrestleMania 18 did some good business. So, but yeah, let's move on. I'm kind of rambling, by the way. Trying to close out this review. So, anyway, so my final rating of the final WWF pay-per-view, that is Backlash 2002. I give it a 6 out of 10. An okay show. You got some good stuff, but at the same time, you got some bad stuff. I think in the bad for me has to be the tag team title match. But besides that, the matches were okay. Like, great example, Scott Hall versus Bradshaw. I can't really. Scott Hall was past his prime. It's really sad because in our current timeline, weeks ago he did pass away in our current timeline. Weeks ago. But like he was so past his prime back then. Taker Austin, it was okay. Wasn't fantastic. Main event was okay as well, but he has some good, not great but good, like the opener, the cruiserweight title match, the women's title match was decent as good. RVD versus Eddie was fun, and also the match tonight was Edge versus Kurt Angle. So I don't really suggest watching this on the network, you know, but it don't make me to go, wow, I need to go back to watch Backlash of 2002 again. No, it was an okay show. You know, it's just what it is. You know, it really ends the WWF era not on a high, not on a whimper. It was just an okay, fun show. So, anyway, so hope you enjoyed my review of WWF Backlash 2002. Leave your thoughts in the comment section below. Smash like button, click the bell, click the like, subscribe to the Central Man Network on YouTube. Be part of the Central Unit for more wrestling videos and more. Next time, so how Undertaker, Austin and Co. do the next show I'm going to review. We're going back to 1997. Let's review, this will be the first pay-per-view after WrestleMania 13. That is In Your House, Revenge of the Taker. This is the Central Man officially signing out. Check you later, folks.